Total home sales across the U.S. are dropping. Do we care? And if so, why? Hey, this is Dave with the Bolduc Realty Group. Welcome to my weekly real estate market update. Today is June 30th. Yep, it's the last day of the first half of the year. We'll be jumping into the second half tomorrow. Before we jump into what's going on with home sales across the U.S., a few key Connecticut market stats. Active on the market today, 4,012. That is down 140 from last week when we had 4,152. We had 320 new listings over the last 24 hours. In May, we sold 3,234 homes, so that's decent. And we got about 1.3 months of inventory on the shelf. You might hear in the news people talking about, on average, about 3 months of inventory across the U.S. In Connecticut, it's 1.3 months. Got some key dates coming up here. I'm not going to jump into this too much today. We got the jobs report, CPI, PPI, and then at the end of the month, we have the next Fed meeting. There is talk of another quarter point raise in interest rates. Question is, what does inflation look like over the next month? You know, with these reports coming up. If it looks like inflation is easing off, maybe the Fed pauses again. We'll have to see how that plays out. Talking about total U.S. home sales. So U.S. home sales is broken up into new construction, new home sales, and existing home sales. So existing is it's already built, someone lives in it, they sell the house. That's existing. New construction is new. Total is the two of them combined. This chart here shows from 2011 to 2023. It's a little bit older chart. 2022, I think we were close to 6 million in sales, and it says 5.8 there as an estimate. And the latest estimate for 2023 is 5.1. Now they're talking it might be as low as 4.5 million homes sold in 2023. If you notice, looking at 2011, that's about the same thing, about 4.5, right? The question we have here is, do we care? And if so, why? What's going on? So the reason we should care is new or any home sold, number of homes sold is an indicator of economic activity. So if there's a lot of homes sold, there's a lot of economic activity going on. That's a good thing. So some points. Homes sell all the time. There's markets that are good for sellers. There's markets that are good for buyers, but homes are always selling. Even in 2009, 10, 11, when they were selling 4.5 million homes a year, and now this year when they're talking about selling 4.5 million homes a year, homes are still selling. The second thing is, if you're buying or selling a house, your transaction, it's one out of millions. Whether it's one out of 4.5 million, 6.5 million, doesn't matter. It's one out of millions. The important thing for you to do is to focus on making that transaction the best you possibly can make it based on the market and based on your current situation and needs. The third thing I want to talk about, and I mentioned it a little bit earlier, 2011, 2023. Looks like the homes sold in those years are going to be pretty much the same. Important thing is very different reasons. Let's talk about inventory position in 2011 versus 2023. 2011, there were in Connecticut alone, there were 30,000 homes on the market. Now there's 4,000. So inventory was very high in 2011, very low in 2023. Interest rates were lower than they are now in 2011, and they were on their way down. Now they're higher and potentially on their way up. Demand was down in both cases, but for different reasons. Then it was because there was so much concern around the banking crisis, around the economy collapsing, people losing jobs. Everybody was pulling back, trying to make sure that they were safe. Now it's more around interest rates are so high that it's making it very cost prohibitive for some people to purchase homes. It's really squeezing buying power. The fourth thing I want to talk about is that economic activity that I talked about when homes are sold, it affects some groups disproportionately. Real estate agents, builders, and other real estate professionals, they get paid when houses close. Banks, they get paid when loans close and with fees, and then also monthly with interest rates. So if homes aren't selling, then loans aren't closing, and all those people aren't getting paid. That's a negative impact on their economic situation. Additionally, for banks, if current homeowners are staying with their lower interest rate loans because they don't want to go up to a higher interest rate loan, which is what's happening right now. They're missing out on additional fees, and they're also missing out on that additional interest payment because they're getting payment on a lower interest rate loan. So that's I think, my opinion, the real concern, the real reason why there's so many articles running around right now, we're selling so few homes, is because it's an indication of economic activity, and it also heavily impacts banks and real estate professionals. And the one thing I will say about real estate agents specifically is agents that are doing a good job are always doing deals. So you want to look for that. Another thing I want to talk about is in 2011 and 2023, in both cases, the market was driven by supply and demand. I've talked about this a bunch of times. I'm going to hit it again. In 2011, supply was high, demand was low, as I talked about. Prices fell until the economy recovered and buyers recovered and came back into the market. That same time, builders, they pulled back heavily because supply was already so high. In 2023, supply is very, very low, partially because builders had pulled back over a decade ago, and they're starting to come back in some places more than others. And demand, again, is low, but for a different reason. Now it's because interest rates are so high. Talking about interest rates, the average mortgage rate right now, it's still in that flat. It's still flat in that range of 6.7 to 7. Today it's at 7, just over 7. The trend is pretty consistent. The dynamics of the Connecticut real estate market, they've remained consistent. Buying power is being squeezed, and the choice of homes out there for buyers is limited at best. Sellers are holding back, and because of a couple of things, they have to face that same limited choice if they sell, because they got to go find another place to live in, and also they're facing those higher interest rates if they sell. So nice homes are selling. They're selling with multiple offers, and often they're going over asking. Prices are climbing about 5% the last read that I had, but it is still a tight market out there. Reminder on points 1 and 2. Homes sell in all markets. And point 2 is focus on making the transaction the best you possibly can based on your current situation and based on the market. If you think it's the right time for you, whether it's to buy or to sell, give me a call, shoot me a text, shoot me an email. Let's talk about it. I will do everything in my power to make sure I support you in your decision to move forward. That's what I have for today. I hope you have a better understanding of why we do want to pay a little bit of attention to how many houses are being sold each year. If you have any questions, comments, please throw them down below. Have a great weekend. Something must have gotten screwed up because that went way too well.